Welcome back to the channel, everybody, on this beautiful Sunday evening here in Switzerland. It's a bit a bit cloudy, but yeah. Anyway, I'm coming to you because I guess opinion or whatever, but I want to discuss this situation, and it's just my point of view, my opinion, and we don't know what opinions are like, but. And I'm talking about the situation in Afghanistan and primarily why we're in this position and the results and just basically what's going on. There's been a video to come out. We've all seen the horrid scenes in Afghanistan. What's coming across? We've heard the stories. Was it 12 or 13 Americans, Marines, sailor and a soldier is dead. And from an explosion from this ISIS-K, they're calling it. That's another conversation altogether there. But why are we there? The current Secretary of Defense is my last battalion commander in the Army, Lloyd Austin. And he was a pretty good battalion commander. I never had anything negative to say about him. Looked up to him. Everybody looked up to him, pretty tall guy. We called him Rip Lips 6, or 2 Panther. I was in Charlie Company, 2nd Battalion, 505th Parachute Infantry Regiment, part of the 8th Airborne Division, 3rd Brigade, back, and this was in the late 90s, early to mid-90s, excuse me. I got out at the end of 95, beginning of 96. Anyway, the point I'm making is that, I understand that all these generals and even a lot of command sergeant majors, high-ranking people become very political in the long run, and I think we're seeing this with a lot of what's going on right now in the culture of the Army with Miley, General Austin, or Secretary of Defense Austin, and other officers around them. And this week we had a Marine, in fact, the commander, Lieutenant Colonel at the U.S. Marine Corps Infantry School of Infantry, actually, he came out with the video. And I've seen a lot of videos about it, and one of a Facebook thread came up, and it was asking, did he deserve to be fired after making the video that he made against the chain of command, and why haven't they come forward and shown leadership? And I think it's a very good point. First of all, sadly, yes, he deserves to be fired, but he knew this going into it. Sadly, he only has 17 years, but this is the guy who's really showing that he's got the bigger pair of balls out of everybody else, because the chain of command, of course, above him, we need to see more officers doing this. We need to see more command sergeant majors doing this kind of stuff, because it seems like everyone above them are playing yes man to the administration, to the politicians, and the way this has been handled. Of course, I don't say that this has been handled even better in the previous. It's never an easy situation pulling out of a country without a 100% success. I believe personally that after Osama bin Laden, we should have already pulled out of the country. We should have gotten out of there, and because that was in the mission. But pretty much, we're not there. We should not be around nation building. My opinion. We should not be around having endless wars, and we should not be out trying to cause wars. We do have the strongest military in the world, the best fighting military in the world, the United States, and it can prove itself every day on the battlefield easily if politicians were involved. It's the politicians that get us involved in these wars, and the politicians that cause us to fail wars. It's not the men on the ground. Believe me, even in Vietnam, we could have won that war easily if politicians hadn't gotten involved so much the way they were, and the way they were fighting. They were commanding the war. And for us being there in the first place, because a lot of people don't realize this, but Ho Chi Minh actually asked the United States for help in the very beginning against the French. And of course, we turned our back on a country that turned their backs on us and NATO. Should we have done that? No. Anyway, I believe this colonel. I think he's correct by what he did, and sadly, the Marine Corps is losing a very good officer, someone who's got a pair and willing to use them. And it seems like in today's age, a lot of military officers aren't willing to use their their kahunas. They aren't willing to risk their careers. They aren't willing to risk anything. In fact, and that's a sad way of going. And they're too political. We saw it with what's it, Veneman, this lieutenant colonel who was playing politics and against Trump, actually, who did what he did. He risked his career. And of course, now, has he risked his career that much? I'm sure he has, but at the same time, he's been protected politically. And this is not a way to go. You shouldn't have politics involved in the military the way it is. Sure, you need to have some kind of civilian control, and that's a good deal. But when you release the warriors to do their jobs, you need to let them do their jobs. And once they've done their job, and it's finished, and believe me, they'll know better than you because they're the ones on the ground. It goes back to something I see within the police force. We have a lot of problems with police. We have lawyers and judges, this kind of stuff, who are condemning policemen from the left, this kind of stuff. And I have a friend of mine who's Russian. It doesn't make me communist or anything else. But he served as a lawyer. And in the system that he's serving in, a lawyer actually has to serve an apprenticeship with the police for, I don't know if it's a year or 2 years like that, before they get their certification. And I think the United States sort of needs to do that. They need to have lawyers who need to serve a year as a policeman. To have to go through the police academy, learn the program, learn the system, and who needs to go through that. I think it's like same with officers in the U.S. military. I mean, it's great to have these young officers learning from NCOs, but it'd be better if they were all forced to do several years as a soldier first. And I've known some of the best officers I've ever known had been enlisted before, and they understood what the enlisted man was going through and what they'd gone through. And they learned a lot of leadership from the NCOs around them before they even got into any kind of program. And I think that's one of the best programs, the best methods. And it seems like we've gotten off track. And the result today is we have a lot of politicians around. And so as general officers, I mean, Mattis, who was this great Marine, the Marines loved him. They talked great about him. But when he becomes Secretary of Defense, he was willing to say no to the president, which is fine. But at the same time, I think he showed more. What I would say, he seemed to follow the left a bit more, or a lot of people refer to as a swamp. But I'm not an ultra conservative right wing person. I'm more of a libertarian. I'm more centered. But I call it bad from both sides when I see it. And anyway. The current situation, you have a lieutenant colonel who's basically thrown away his career. I don't say thrown away. I mean, he's given up his career as a Marine officer, and apparently a very good one if you're serving as the commander of the infantry, School of the Infantry for the Marine Corps, to a situation which is very negative, where you have officers playing politicians and officers playing yes men and not willing to take the risk, putting their neck out there for right. Okay. When it comes to Afghanistan right now, I mean, just a little bit of a thought that I have when I saw this whole situation. We have a government right now that is they're hawks. Okay. They're part of the problem. They're part of the problem because they want to be in wars, because behind them is the military industrial machine, actually, who's truly in charge of what's going on in the United States, especially. And we saw that with the beginning of the wars. You look at who's probably behind all this, who's shown a blind eye. Does that make me some conspiracy theorist? No, but I'm sort of looking. I see what I see. I see what I've seen, and it sort of leads me to a different result. Okay, and that is that I believe that right now they're even calling this ISIS-K. So what does that mean? We're going to join sides with the Taliban and start to go back into a war against ISIS in Afghanistan? Just a food for thought. Or are we setting ourselves up for even another war, which is going to cost another $2.3 trillion, so that we can fight in Afghanistan again, or somewhere else, maybe in the Middle East. It's tiring, you know. I have a son and a daughter, and they're in their early 20s. And the last thing I would like to do is see them have to go off to war. Just the same as my father, who fought in the Vietnam War, and my grandfather in World War II, would probably not want to see, didn't want to see them or myself go off to war. But it is what it is, and this is what's going on. I mean, when you see that, you know, I love being in the Army when I was in the Army, and I wish I'd never gotten out. But wishing in one hand and reality in the other hand, you see which one weighs the most. I mean, although I loved it when I did it, I just wouldn't suggest someone going in today because, and even in most of the past 20 years, it's just been, I mean, it would have been an excellent experience for myself, I think, even knowing the consequences. But I just don't wish that on somebody today in the current political climate, and no matter who's in charge, what side, because they seem to be a part of the same train of thought in general. I mean, of course, my opinion is that the last president, who wasn't the greatest president in the world, but I supported him. I supported most of what he did, and I truly believe that he lost that election from not just fighting the left, but also the right. He was hated on both sides because he wasn't part of the good old boys club. And the only reason why he was liked when he was not president was because he had money, and he was giving money to all these politicians. Anyway, get back on the subject. I feel bad for this lieutenant colonel. I'm hoping that maybe he's able to get into something else very quickly before, you know, because he's still a young man. I would imagine he's in his 40s, and or maybe even his 30s still. But I hope the best for him, and I hope he's able to continue, you know, being able to find a job doing something, because it's not easy for those of us who are old guys and in later life either, you know. But anyway, I would like to hear your comments about all this and your opinions, and I really hope that that the situation in the long run gets sorted out very soon, because this is not very very nice, actually. The situation, it's pretty crappy, and hopefully we're able to get through this without too much harm. Right now, it's a lot of harm, a lot of harm. You know, a lot of people are hurting right now. There are 13 families out there hurting, and sadly, there's more to come. Anyway, I hope you all have a good night, and think about me, think about these 13 families, and those who are still out there serving on the lines. And you know, subscribe to my channel, please. I'm a little bit lost for words. Subscribe to my channel, and yeah, I'm gonna tell you why I'm lost for words. Actually, you know, here I live in Switzerland, and here you basically have to get the COVID vaccines, and I just had the second one Friday, and I slept for 14 hours last night. Not feeling very. I'm not feeling sick. I'm just feeling extremely tired, very worn down. Today I was even feeling like I was having, you know, like my nerves were acting up in my arms and stuff, you know. But yes, I'm a bit exhausted right now after that exam. But after those vaccines, I can't even think straight. But anyway, listen, I hope you all have a good one, and subscribe to my channel, please. Share it, leave a comment, give a thumbs up, all those good things. Thumbs down if you didn't like it either. It's all appreciated. But if you do give a thumbs up or thumbs down, please think about leaving a comment. I would really like to hear what you got to think about all this also. And again, God bless all those who are out there serving on the line. And you guys have a good weekend. Goodbye.